The chamber of the Galactic Council floated high above a blue gas giant. Its walls shimmered with strange lights, and hundreds of alien delegates sat in wide rings around the central platform. Each race looked different. Some had scales, some had feathers, some had shapes humans could not imagine. At the center of the platform, a large holomap floated in the air. A small, bright blue planet glowed at the edge of a spiral arm. Earth. Elder Varesh, a tall reptilian with silver scales, stood before the map. His voice was low and calm, but it carried weight across the chamber. "Unknown ships have entered human space," he said. "Our probes report fleets moving toward their system. They have never been here before." The council murmured. Many leaned forward, curious or worried. Others looked bored, thinking humans would not matter much. "Do we expect humans to call for help?" asked a long-limbed alien with translucent skin. "They have always been small and weak." Varesh shook his head. "If humans respond, they may finally kneel to the council. Many of you will gain new clients. But the reports are unusual. Their cities are still active, and their systems are not in panic." The chamber quieted. A live feed appeared, taken from a probe orbiting Earth. The counselors watched the planet with keen interest. Cities sparkled in the night. Rivers and oceans reflected light, and tiny silver ships lifted into the air. People moved in lines on the streets. There was order, not chaos. A younger counselor whispered, "They do not seem afraid." Varesh nodded. "We must watch closely. Perhaps this species is more resilient than we expected." At the edge of the solar system, dark ships emerged. They were long, jagged, and moved like shards of glass. This fleet would be called the Shade Host. Their weapons glowed as they fired on human outposts. Stations disappeared in flashes of energy. But the humans did not flee. They moved calmly, following orders, sending data back to their command centers. In North America, deep underground, humans had formed a joint defense command. Captain Ethan Cole, a calm man with steady eyes, reviewed the reports. Beside him, Dr. Laura Price adjusted sensors, her fingers moving quickly over glowing screens. General Marcus Hill, an older man with a square face, paced slowly behind them. "Their weapons burn through armor," Laura said. "But I notice a residue left behind. It might be useful to study." Ethan leaned forward. "We cannot fight them head-on. We need to track them, predict their moves, and defend our cities. Every human life counts." Hill nodded. "Prepare the fleet. Civilian evacuation is next. Keep people calm." Meanwhile, the council expected humans to surrender. If they asked for help, the council could force them to accept rules, give up resources, and become clients. Some members whispered that it would be a simple victory. The humans were young. They could not resist a fleet like the Shade Host. Then, a message appeared in the council systems. It was short and clear. It was translated from human to the council languages in real time. "Earth is under attack. Humans will defend our home. Any who interfere without our consent are hostile." The chamber went silent. Many counselors stared at the words. Some thought the translation was wrong. Others looked shocked. Humans did not ask for help. They did not plead. They warned the council not to interfere. Varesh's eyes narrowed. "They will fight. They will not kneel." Back on Earth, humans moved quickly. Evacuations were orderly. City broadcasts gave calm instructions. Hospitals prepared for casualties. Schools explained the situation to children simply, telling them to stay safe and trust adults. Civilians worked quietly but efficiently. At the edge of the solar system, the Shade Host advanced. Their first shots destroyed listening posts and small defense stations. Humans suffered losses, but they did not panic. Small defense ships moved in waves, striking the enemy at weak points. Drones flew ahead, pretending to be larger ships. Mines, hidden in dust. Clouds, waited to explode. Captain Ethan studied the incoming data. They have more firepower, he said, but they are predictable. Watch the pattern of their shields. Hit when they flicker. Laura checked sensors. It is a narrow gap, but if we time it right, we can damage their command vessels. The council watched. Many whispered that humans were clever, but doomed. They thought it would not last. One counselor, a quiet amphibian named Selin, took notes and said nothing. She observed everything with care. The first clash was terrible. Shade ships moved fast and destroyed smaller human ships. Flames streaked across space. The humans lost friends and equipment. Ethan's ship narrowly escaped a direct hit. Crew members held on tightly as alarms screamed. Even so, humans adapted. Ethan gave orders in simple words. Ships moved to take advantage of shield patterns. Drones exploded near enemy vessels to distract them. Slowly, the Shade host took more damage than expected, but there were costs. 2 Allied ships were destroyed near Ethan's position. Crew members mourned but continued fighting. Each human knew that their actions protected homes, families, and their planet. Fear was present, but it did not stop them. The council was stunned. They had expected chaos and surrender. Instead, humans moved with courage, intelligence, and calm determination. Some counselors began to feel unease. They whispered among themselves, "This is not like any other species. They adapt faster than we can predict. Their losses do not stop them." Ethan's command sent a broadcast to the entire fleet. "We hold the line. Follow orders. Protect civilians. We fight not for glory, but for survival." On the council screens, the humans' calm coordination became obvious. Families remained in homes while ships formed defense lines in space. Children were taught that their planet was being defended. People worked together without fear. Varesh spoke quietly, but his words carried across the hall. They do not submit. They do not beg. They fight. And they fight with their minds as much as their ships. The Shade host pressed closer. Their massive fleet stretched across the dark void. But humans were ready. Layers of defense had been built for years. Some hidden in the asteroid belt, some in orbit, and some near cities. Every move the humans made seemed carefully planned. Selin, the quiet counselor, finally spoke. "We may have underestimated them," she said. "This species, they are dangerous, even if they appear small." Varesh nodded. "Yes, this may be the last day humans bow. Or perhaps the first day they show the galaxy what they can do." The chamber of the council went silent. The screens showed ships moving into position, ready for the first big battle. The council members watched, some in fear, some in disbelief, and a few with curiosity. They realized that the humans were not weak. They were clever, brave, and organized in ways that no one had expected. And on Earth, the first shots of the battle lit up the darkness of space. The humans did not run. They did not panic. They prepared to defend their home with everything they had. In the council hall, Varesh leaned forward. "Watch carefully. This species may change everything we thought we knew about power in this region of space." The young counselor Selin whispered, almost to herself, "I want to see how far they will go." Far away, in the silent emptiness of space, the first battle lines of humanity and the Shade host were drawn. The council expected surrender, but humans gave only one answer. They would fight. And so, Earth stood under attack, and the galaxy watched, waiting to see what would happen next. The human ships formed in layers around the outer planets. Jupiter and Saturn became the first defensive line. Captain Ethan Cole stood on the bridge of his mid-sized destroyer, watching the sensors. Every blip on the screen told a story of approaching danger. He spoke calmly to his crew. "We cannot fight like others. We must be smart. Dr. Laura Price moved beside him, adjusting readings. Her eyes flicked over the holographic displays. Their shields are strong, but I notice a rhythm. When they fire, a small gap appears. If we time it right, we can exploit it. Ethan nodded. Good. Tell the fleet. Every small advantage counts. General Marcus Hill joined them. His face was stern, but his voice carried experience. We lose ships, yes, but every action buys time for Earth. Every delay makes them weaker. Remember that. Outside, the Shade Host advanced. Their jagged ships moved like a dark wave, silent, except for the energy beams that flared across space. The first human drones sped ahead, pretending to be large ships. The Shade weapons fired, but many hit nothing. Mines, hidden in dust, clouds erupted, scattering enemy formations. Ethan's first line of smaller ships attacked in waves. Each wave drew enemy fire, then moved aside as the next wave struck. The counselors, observing from their distant chambers, expected humans to be destroyed quickly. But humans adapted. They changed their tactics with every attack. Selin, the quiet amphibian counselor, watched carefully. She noted the patterns. The humans were not predictable like other species. They learned fast and acted decisively. Interesting, she whispered to herself. The first clash was brutal. Human ships were destroyed, flashes of light streaking across space. Smoke and debris drifted in the void. Even so, the humans held. Ethan maneuvered his destroyer through enemy fire, keeping his crew focused. We protect each other, he said. We buy time. Keep your eyes on the shields. Timing is everything. Laura adjusted the targeting systems. If we hit here, when the shield flickers, we can take out a command ship. She pointed to a glowing marker. Small damage at first, but it counts. The council chamber murmured. Many counselors leaned forward. Some whispered that humans were clever, but doomed. Others were unsure. They had underestimated this species. Humans adapted faster than any race in council records. The human ships formed a flexible pattern, spreading across the battlefield. When one ship was damaged, another moved into its place. Drones flitted between the big ships, confusing the enemy. Mines exploded in waves, slowing the Shade Host advance. Even with careful planning, the humans lost ships. Ethan watched as two of his closest allies disappeared in flashes of light. The crew held their breath, knowing each loss was heavy. Yet, no one panicked. They adjusted. They fought harder. Ethan sent a message to all fleet captains. Do not give up. Protect civilians. Fight smart. Every action counts. We hold this line for Earth. Laura looked at the energy readings. If we time our attacks with the shield flickers, we can damage their larger ships. We can survive longer than they expect. The council watched the battle. Their whispers grew nervous. They had expected humans to surrender. Instead, humans fought with intelligence and courage. They lost ships, yes, but each loss seemed to make the survivors stronger. Varesh, the reptilian elder, frowned. This is not normal. Most species would crumble under such fire. Humans adapt. They fight smart. And they do not panic. A younger counselor shook his head. They are small. They cannot win against a fleet like this. They will die. Selin remained silent. She studied every movement. They may be small, but they are dangerous. I want to see how far they go, she said quietly. The Shade Host pressed closer. Their massive fleet stretched across the void. Many counselors thought Earth would soon be destroyed. But humans had a plan. They had built layers of hidden defense. Some were near Earth. Some were between planets. Some were in the asteroid belt. Each piece was ready to activate. Ethan's destroyer moved toward one of the outer platforms. It was small, but packed with weapons. "We take the position," he told his crew. "Use every system we have. Keep our lines safe." Laura linked her systems into the platform. "If we connect all these stations, we can make overlapping fields. Shields will cover ships. Enemy attacks will hit barriers instead of Earth." The Shade Host reached the first line. They fired their massive energy beams. Small human ships darted between explosions. Drones created false targets, luring fire away from real ships. Mines detonated in patterns, destroying or damaging enemy vessels. Ethan maneuvered carefully, keeping his ship between the weakest point and the main fleet. "Hold the line," he said. "Every second counts." The council chamber reacted. Some were shocked. Others whispered among themselves. "This species is smarter than we expected. They use small ships to control the big fleet. They lose, yet they survive." Selen made notes. "I have never seen tactics like this," she said. "They think in ways that are unpredictable." The first wave of shade ships was broken. Their formation became disordered. Humans exploited gaps in the attack. Every lost human ship was replaced by another taking its place. The fleet adapted like a single organism. Even civilians were part of the defense. In cities, volunteers moved supplies. Medical teams prepared for casualties. Schools taught children to stay calm. Families followed instructions without panic. Humans used every resource they had. Ethan noticed the enemy command ships. "If we can damage them, the rest will lose coordination." Laura studied the shields. "We need perfect timing. If we hit while shields flicker, we can cause serious damage. But it is dangerous." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we do it. For Earth." As the Shade Host advanced again, humans retreated slightly. It looked chaotic. Counselors thought humans were losing. But it was deliberate. Humans wanted the enemy to follow into prepared positions. Hidden platforms and weapons would activate at the right moment. Varesh whispered. "They are using strategy, not just bravery. They plan steps ahead. This is dangerous." Selen nodded quietly. "Most species would have given up. Humans continue, even when losing. I must study them further." The humans' careful retreat drew the shade ships into the asteroid belt. Hidden mines and platforms activated. Energy fields flared unexpectedly, slowing the enemy and breaking their formation. Drones attacked from all directions. The enemy ships began to fall apart. Even then, humans paid a cost. Several ships were destroyed. Captain Ethan's destroyer suffered damage to its shields and engines. Crew members worked quickly to repair systems, while explosions shook the hull. Laura moved from console to console, rerouting power and fixing critical failures. "Hold steady," Ethan said. "We are not defeated. Every loss buys time for Earth. We adapt, and we survive." The council watched with growing fear. They expected humans to panic. They expected them to beg. Instead, humans fought calmly, intelligently, and bravely. Each step of the battle surprised the observers. The Shade Host, now disordered, struggled to regain control. Human drones and mines continued to harass them. Small fleets darted in, striking at vulnerable ships. Timing attacks with shield flickers caused even larger vessels to take damage. Varesh's voice was low but full of concern. "This species will not kneel. They do not follow the rules we know. They fight in ways we cannot predict." Selen whispered. "We must record everything. They are changing the rules of war." On Earth, civilians watched the skies and the news with careful attention. Teachers explained the situation simply. Doctors and volunteers helped everywhere. Families followed instructions without panic. The humans were united in a way that no other species in the Council had seen. Ethan's fleet began to draw the shade ships closer to Earth's inner defense line. Platforms activated. Hidden weapons fired. Energy fields flared across space. The enemy suffered heavy losses. The Council gasped as they saw humans control the battlefield. Humans were losing ships, but they were forcing the Shade host to pay a far higher price. Ethan looked at the main view screen. We hold the line. We protect Earth. This is our home. We fight. We survive. And we adapt. Laura nodded. We can do this. Timing and strategy will win, even if our numbers are small. The Council continued to watch. Their whispers turned to worried discussions. Humans were small, but brave and smart. They did not surrender. They did not panic. They adapted faster than anyone had predicted. Varesh sighed. This is not the end of humans. It may be the beginning of something greater. 77 Class. Selen smiled quietly. I want to see how far they will go. Far from Earth, in the silence of space, human ships moved through the battlefield with determination. Every action was precise. Every move, intentional. They fought for their homes, their families, and their world. The Shade host advanced, but the humans were ready. They were not defeated. They adapted. They planned, and the Council could only watch in disbelief and growing fear. Earth had drawn its first line in the darkness of space. The battle was far from over, but humans had shown the first proof of their courage, intelligence, and spirit. They would fight, and they would survive. The Shade host had pushed deeper into the solar system. They believed humans were retreating, that their defenses were weak, but the humans had planned for this moment. Hidden across space were small stations, satellites, and platforms, built over decades. Most of the alien counselors had no idea these defenses existed. Captain Ethan Cole's destroyer moved toward one of the inner layers of these defenses. The ship had taken damage in the earlier battles, but the crew worked tirelessly. Sparks flew in corridors as repair teams patched hull breaches. Engineers rerouted power to critical systems. Ethan moved calmly across the bridge, speaking in short, clear commands. Keep sensors online. Drones in position. Shields at 50%. We survive. Dr. Laura Price worked beside him. She linked the ship's systems with one of the hidden platforms. Energy flows pulsed through the ship, connecting with other stations. If we complete the network, she said, we can create overlapping shields. They won't hit Earth. They won't hit us. The Shade host advanced, their jagged ships moving like a dark storm. They fired, but many beams struck nothing. Small human ships darted between flashes of light. Mines exploded in patterns designed to trap and destroy. Drones confused the enemy, moving in false directions. Ethan's destroyer led a small group, slipping through openings in asteroid fields. Every move was careful and precise. We fight smart, Ethan told his crew. Every strike counts. Every move matters. We cannot give them easy targets. Laura monitored energy patterns. The shields are strong, but if we time our attacks when their fire pulses, we can hit gaps. We may damage their bigger ships. The Council watched from their chambers far away. Many were shocked. Humans were not only surviving, they were controlling the battlefield. Some whispered nervously. They learn fast. They adapt faster than we thought. Selen, the quiet amphibian counselor, observed carefully. Humans are unpredictable, she said. They are small, but they can change the rules of war in moments. We must study them. The Shade host reached the inner defenses. Hidden platforms powered up. Energy fields flared across space. Enemy ships struck barriers instead of hitting human ships directly. Mines detonated in coordinated patterns, slicing through smaller vessels. Drones moved with speed and intelligence, striking weak points and retreating. Ethan maneuvered his destroyer into a narrow gap between the enemy and one of the platforms. His ship was damaged, but he had one goal: keep the line intact. Hold position, he said. Protect the weak points. Buy time for Earth. Laura monitored connections across the defense network. If we coordinate all stations, we can make overlapping zones. Enemy attacks will hit barriers. Not us. Only humans can move freely inside. The first wave of shade ships fell apart. Gaps appeared in their formations. Smaller human ships darted in, striking exposed vessels. Drones exploded near enemy shields, forcing shields to split and making ships vulnerable. Even larger, shade ships began to take heavy damage. The council gasped. Many counselors had assumed humans would collapse after losing some outer fleets. Instead, they were winning small victories in ways no one predicted. Varesh, the reptilian elder, whispered, "They are not reckless. They are intelligent, even under fire. Most species would crumble. Humans fight and adapt." Selin nodded quietly. "We cannot underestimate them. They survive because they think. They survive because they work together." The Shade Host tried to reorganize. Their jagged command ships moved forward, directing smaller fleets, but the humans were ready. Each gap the enemy tried to exploit was covered by another human ship. Platforms fired overlapping energy beams, striking at the weakest points. Drones moved with timing and purpose, hitting vulnerable ships before retreating. Ethan watched the tactical display. They are strong, but slow. Timing and positioning will give us an advantage. Watch for shield flickers. Laura focused on energy flows. I can manipulate some of the barriers. We can create temporary openings for our ships to pass and attack command vessels. But it is risky. Argay. FWAR. The council chamber grew tense. Some counselors whispered that humans were lucky. Others began to worry. This species could survive attacks that would destroy most others. On Earth, civilians continued their work. Volunteers moved supplies, hospitals prepared for more wounded, and teachers explained calmly to children how to stay safe. Families followed instructions without panic. Humans were united, organized, and focused on survival. The Shade Host moved again, pushing toward the inner defense layer. Ethan's destroyer positioned itself near a small station. "We anchor here," he said. "Connect shields, protect the line. Do not give them a clear path to Earth." Laura tapped commands into the console. Energy pulsed through the ship, flowing to platforms in a network. "We have temporary control over multiple zones," she said. "They will hit shields instead of ships if they try to fire." The first shade ships entered the trap. Mines exploded, drones darted in, and energy fields blocked their path. Enemy vessels were damaged and slowed. Some retreated. Others were destroyed. The council murmured. Varesh's voice was low. "They are stronger than we imagined. Most species would have fallen by now." Humans continue. Selin wrote notes quickly. "Their tactics are simple, yet unpredictable. They adapt faster than I expected. This is remarkable." Ethan's destroyer moved again, leading a group to cover a weak point. Several small human ships followed, timing attacks with shield pulses. Gaps appeared in the enemy's line. The humans struck with precision. Even with careful tactics, human ships were destroyed. Ethan lost 2 close allies in rapid attacks. Crew members mourned, but did not give up. They repaired damaged systems and returned to the fight. Laura spoke quietly. "Every loss teaches us something. We can adjust for the next wave." The council watched with increasing concern. They had expected humans to surrender, but humans fought with intelligence, bravery, and coordination. Every step in the battle revealed clever thinking. The Shade Host tried to regroup. Command ships moved to control the fleet, but the humans anticipated their moves. Drones and mines disrupted enemy maneuvers. Platforms fired overlapping beams. Even smaller ships caused significant damage. Ethan spoke to his crew. "We hold the line. We fight smart. We protect Earth. This is our home. Remember that," Laura added. "If we work together, we can survive even against the largest enemy ships." The council continued to observe. Many whispered that humans were not just brave, they were dangerous. They adapted faster than any other species they had seen. Even a small fleet of humans could disrupt a larger, stronger force. Varesh muttered, "They are not weak. They fight with their minds as much as their ships. This species may change the balance of power in this region." Selin nodded quietly. "We must record everything. They are redefining what it means to survive in space." Far away, the Shade Host advanced toward the inner planets. They were confident, but every step brought them into human traps. Hidden platforms activated, energy fields flared, drones struck at vulnerable points. The enemy suffered heavy losses. Ethan's destroyer moved carefully. Every maneuver was precise, every decision was deliberate. Even when the ship was damaged, the crew held on. They repaired systems under fire, controlled shields, and struck at weak points. Laura monitored the energy flows. "If we keep timing attacks with their shield flickers, we can continue to destroy command ships. The bigger vessels are vulnerable if we coordinate properly." The council gasped again. Humans were winning. The smaller fleet, with clever tactics and careful timing, had disrupted the larger Shade Host force. Many counselors whispered in disbelief. Varesh spoke slowly. "This species will not kneel. They are intelligent, adaptive, and brave. Most species would have been destroyed long ago. Humans continue to fight, and they survive." Selin added quietly, "We must study them. This is unlike anything we have seen before. Humans are changing the rules of war, and they may change much more in the future." Ethan's destroyer led a small group forward, covering gaps in the defense network. Drones and mines created confusion. Platforms fired overlapping energy beams. Smaller ships darted between attacks, striking at weak points. The Shade Host was in disarray. Their command ships struggled to maintain control. The humans adapted, exploited every opportunity, and held the line. Ethan looked at the display. "We protect the weak points. Every ship counts. Every move matters. Hold steady. We survive." Laura nodded. "We can do this. Timing, strategy, and coordination will win." Across the council chambers, whispers of fear and admiration spread. Humans were small, but intelligent and courageous. They fought with precision and unity. They survived against a far larger force. The battle continued, but humans had proven one thing: they would not surrender. They would adapt, fight, and survive. And the council could only watch, unsure of what would come next. Far from Earth, human ships moved through the battlefield with determination. Every action was precise, every move intentional. They fought for their home, their families, and their world. The Shade Host advanced, but humans were ready. They had hidden defenses, clever tactics, and courage beyond measure. They were small, but they could survive. They were human.